Okay, something a little bit different this week. We're about to embark on the hardest and oldest Special Forces selection test in the world. This is martial arts versus mountain. So the challenge itself is called the fan dance, and it's one of the iconic tests for British Special Forces, namely the SAS and the SBS. So it's a weighted ruck, 35 pounds of kit on your back, plus water and food. Up Penny Fan, which is the highest peak in the Brecon Beacons, the training ground for the SAS. You go up the peak, down the other side. Once you get to there, you turn around and you do the same thing in reverse. From what I've heard, it's an absolute ball buster. So hard on the lungs, so hard on the legs. The ground's really uneven. The weather is appalling. Harshest conditions you can come up against. Right, so first things first, the kit list required for this challenge is extensive. The weight on your back cannot be dead weight, so you can't just put some weight plates on there and run up the mountain with that. It has to be useful items that would allow you to survive if anything goes wrong. So kit list is huge, and to make a long story short, this lot here, everything I need to survive on the mountain in case of an emergency, needs to go in here, and that needs to go on my back, and I need to run up and down a mountain twice. So that kit, all of that will weigh around 35 pounds, and then on top of that I'll have to add all my water, all my food for the duration of it, and so the total weight is probably about 20 kilos or 45 pounds. Right, so with all that in there, we're still about 2.5 kilos short, and I'm only allowed 1 kilo of dead weight, so we have to chuck extra water in there to make up the difference and try and get that up to weight. Okay, we are on weight and good to go. So the fan dance is complete. I did it in 4 hours 25. Quite a spectacular fall part-way round, which has mashed my knee massively, but we got it done. 4 hours 25. I got bulked massively at the start and probably lost, put it this way, it took me 20 minutes to do half a K. So 4 hours 25, bit pissed off at it, but all things considered, the terrain was fucking awful. The weather, fell over 3 times, and now I've got hypothermia, so let's go get a shower. So thoughts after the race, I can honestly say that is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. The weather was absolutely shocking. It was sideways rain, which was relentless for the entirety. The wind was horrific to the point where at times it felt like you were going to get blown off the mountain. And the terrain was just crazy. It was literally jagged, sharp rock throughout the whole thing, which was soaking wet and muddy. So every step you took, there was risk of, seriously injuring, either rolling an ankle or slipping and cracking your head on a rock. So there were quite a few injuries on the day. Myself, I actually fell over about 3 times, but on the 3rd time, my legs were just so tired that I didn't have the speed to get my feet back under me, and I fell quite hard and sliced my knee open pretty bad, which has needed some work at the hospital today to fix up again. So yeah, it by no means was that a feat you can take lightly. Preparation, even though I trained really hard for it, I definitely feel like I could have done more. And parts of the climb were insane. There was a section called Jacob's Ladder, which is just so steep and goes on for what feels like forever, and that's about 3/4 of the way through the race, so you're already tired by that point. and then trying to drag yourself up there. Yeah, I had to stop maybe 2 or 3 times on the ascent, which is very unlike me. But I found it so difficult, you know. But all told, I came in at 4 hours 25, which was slower than I would have liked. But all things considered, I got severe cramp on the first ascent in both quads, which, you know, I was only 5k in at that time, and thought, damn, I ain't gonna make it for the entirety. So the game changed from trying to beat the special forces time to just trying to finish. So I'm happy I finished, but 4 hours 25, it's okay. I could have definitely done better. Tactically, I could have done better. Preparation, I could have done a lot more hill work, and obviously try to keep my foot in. This damn injury cost me quite a lot of time trying to fix that up and get back on my feet and back in the game. But, you know, we got it done, and it's good to challenge yourself in these ways. So why did I do this? Martial arts and mountains have always gone hand in hand. You know, if you look at martial arts culture, there's been an affinity with the mountain, going up the mountain to learn and then coming back down when you've attained mastery. So for me, the mountains have always been synonymous with martial arts. I wanted to test myself in a way that did not involve other people. So it was just me versus me. And I wanted to do it in a way that would seriously challenge me and make me question everything, which it did. There were times, many times, that I wanted to quit. And I just kept thinking, with every ascent and every descent, where it seemed like it would never stop, the saying of 7 times down, 8 times up. So no matter how many times you fall, you get up, you keep going again. No matter how many times you climb, you come back down again. So that saying was in the back of my head and kind of helped me through the challenge. But I think as martial artists, it's important to challenge yourself often, you know, at least once a year. Do something that really challenges you and take you out of your comfort zone. It doesn't always have to involve competition or conflict or combat with other people. As a martial artist, most of the time this combat should be with yourself, finding out who you are, coming into contact with your own demons and your doubts and insecurities, and then just achieving and attaining evidence that you can do more than you thought you could. I feel that's important as a martial artist, just to keep the ego in check, to fail occasionally. I failed this challenge, make no mistake. I might have finished it, but I did not finish it in a way that I wanted to. I wanted to beat that special forces time of 4 hours 10, and I came in 15 minutes short. I could make excuses for the weather or the fact I didn't sleep or falling over and hurting my knee or, you know, getting off to a slow start because of the crowds and things like that. None of it matters. At the end of the day, I failed, and that's a hard thing to come to terms with, and something that I'll have to soul search in the next few days and then figure out if I want to do it again. But in martial arts, you don't always get to win. In life, you don't always get to win. So it's important to put yourself in situations where you're reminded of that, especially as teachers, instructors, heads of associations, high ranking or whatever it might be. A lot of people can rest on their laurels and become very comfortable with position and become very protective of that position, so that it's never challenged, or they never put themselves into a situation whereby they can be found out. Put yourself in those situations. Get found out by yourself. To yourself. But anyway, that's my challenge this week. I'm gonna go refuel, eat, get some sleep, and let's get this knee healed up so we're ready to go again next week. Speak to you soon.